Hello, hello. Welcome back after, geez, it's been a while. But we're back. It's finally here. Part 2 after, I think I posted part 1, Jesus, it's gotta be close to 11 months ago now. Which is entirely my fault. I'm taking full accountability for this. I know that there were probably some of you out there that tried to recreate this and then just gave up because it's like, why isn't he posting part 2? I have my reasons, but after so long of not making a video, I have some talking points that I'm going to discuss in this. But we will get to those in due time. First off, this particular video is starting with the extra... wow, I made it however long we're in. Some things never change. I make it a minute in, and I've already lost every bit of momentum I had. But I am doing in this part, this is all of the extra just neighborhood stuff, so the for sale signs, anything on the street. This is just miscellaneous stuff that I did in between working on houses. So if you see here, all of the exteriors are done, which is where we started off. So this is more so if you're building the whole project, you start here. I will do timestamps in the description, so that will create chapters in the video so you can see the other sections if you're just making a single house. This video will have the first house I made, which is the white one on the corner of the 2nd Street. And then also the first house on the right, Lot 1 and Lot 5, as I called them, which is, one of them is furnished. That entire part is in this video, which is why it's an hour long. So first things first, why has it taken me 11 months to put out a second video? This video's probably come out about 5 or 6 months later than I wanted it to. So, first things first, I want to make sure I get this right. So we're going to go to good old, YouTube Studio is still on my phone. I haven't used this oh geez. I open up YouTube Studio and latest published content, first 333 days and 6 hours ago. Oh, it's ranked 2 out of 10. Not bad. So yeah, it has been way too long, but, so yeah, it's been 333 days at the time of recording this. It'll probably be closer to 340 by the time I post this, and when did I make that first? Oh, I can't see community posts on here. Oh, well, this is lame. Okay, well, -1 YouTube Studio. But I made a post, it was probably 5 or 6 months ago, where I was like, hey, I'm having issues with my computer and my editing software. So that's when I first tried to post this. It was either, I want to say like December or January. It might have been February or March. I really don't remember. But for context, I posted part 1 of this speed build when I was just beginning into my junior year of high school. Sorry, it's thundering outside, I think, and it wouldn't be a voiceover without random noises happening. My train of thought is going to be very skewed, so I'm sorry in advance. But I posted that at the very beginning of my junior year. It was not the most demanding schedule I'd had yet for that semester, but I posted that video, and then I went into kind of I was already burnt out. I'd been burnt out for like 2 years at this point. Me and Bloxburg were not on good terms, so I was just kind of building because I needed videos to post. And then I was editing and posting videos because I had footage of me building. So yeah, it was just an endless cycle of I wasn't really happy with it. So I just thought, you know what, we're going to post this. and I was already having issues editing because I had separate projects, because like in editing softwares you have a project where you have everything in, and you can work on multiple at the same time. So I had each separate video was its own project where I could get all of them ready, and then I could just go and record the voiceovers. And software, it was kind of glitching out. It wasn't working very well. I came in, like, it wasn't recognizing my saves, and it was taking up so much storage on my computer because it would make a backup every time I would edit something on there. So I probably had 60 or 70 gigabytes free on my computer, just gone like that. And I have it set to where it'll save those backups on my external hard drive, which is where I keep all of my footage. It is where, like, everything on my computer is on there that I can, with the exception of The Sims 4, because that's too risky. I'm not risking that. But it was just taking up a ton of storage. It wasn't working right. And I was like, okay, we're gonna delete this, and because I have an account with, it's Wondershare Filmora. I have an account with that, and I made the one-time purchase because I could either pay a monthly fee to have access to it with updates, but I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this. I would rather just buy it and be done with it and just have it. So I ended up just like, okay, we're going to delete it, reinstall it, see if that'll fix the problem. I did that, come in, log in, and it's trying to get me to pay for the new version. And I'm like, no, I have the version from 2 years ago. I want that one. And it was just not working the way I needed to. It was not very user friendly at that moment. And I went into the website, I did some research, and I was like, okay, I can download the old version because that's all I needed. They're on like 14 or 15. It was like Wondershare 15 by now, or at the time when I was doing that, and I bought like version 12. So I needed from a while back. And eventually got there, got that downloaded, loaded in, and then it was just still giving me the new version. I'm like, I don't need this. So I was dealing with that in my free time, but also it was just hitting at a very bad time for me with school because I was in the mentality of, I have 2 years of high school left. I'm about to be 17. I want to like have my quote unquote like high school years. Because in case you haven't gathered from all of the previous voiceovers, I am not a normal person by any means. I wouldn't say there's, my sister and I actually had a discussion on this, of like this spectrum of there's like weird, odd, abnormal. I would say, I don't remember the term where we said, I'm in like the abnormal. Like I'm not normal by any means, but I'm not, at least I don't think I'm that much of a weirdo. If anybody that knows me personally is listening to this, please let me know. I'm interested. But I never really, at least I've had some revelations with this and epiphanies, and insert another word for light bulb moment about this. But in that moment, I was like, you know what? I just want to experience what it would be like to just be a normal teenager instead of me. Which in hindsight was a horrible decision. I was happy for a few months, and then December and January ended up being the worst months of my life since freshman year, which was horrible. Those early 2023 voiceovers, I was going through it. So, dang it, Duolingo. Duolingo's sending me messages to complete my streak. I will do that after this, in hopes that it's not midnight. It's only 10:47, so I'll be fine. Where was I? But yeah, I was like, I just want to live normal teenager stuff. Spend more time with friends. Because like by this time, my schedule. Like, I actually had classes with my friends for the first time in 3 years. Who would have thought? But I was just more set on enjoying the moment, and sinking hours into fixing and editing software was not something I was really looking forward to doing, and it just was one of those out of sight, out of mind, and I just forgot about it. And this is actually going to lead into other talking points, but long story short, I went through that first semester of just enjoying it, and it worked to a certain extent. I'm glad I made that decision in some aspects. Other aspects, I'm like, you idiot, why did no, that was stupid. So yeah, and then by like December, January, I was going back to actually like, okay, I need to upload these. And then all of the issues with the software were still happening, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna have to suck it up and edit these in iMovie, which is actually what I'm doing now. I've come back to my roots. I'm back in iMovie. But it was just like, okay, I need to do that. And then AP US History hit, and I was spending multiple hours every night at my desk doing what they were called key concepts packets. Again, if anybody getting sidetracked, but with this whole YouTube thing, I've kept it very, very internal. Like, only like my sibling, some of my very, very close friends knew about it, and one way or another it leaked down the pipeline, and then I got exposed in front of my entire US history class that I have a YouTube channel where I upload house speed builds in Roblox. And just picture me sitting like near the corner of the class by the window, just beet red, like, hold up, whoa. So there's a very strong possibility, probably not, that some people in my US history class are watching this. Hello, shout out. We can hate on the key concepts packets together. But it's basically like an entire unit period of time where you had it in a 30-page packet, and you had to complete the whole thing for a separate grade. But it really helped study for the test, and I ended up getting a 5 on the AP test, so it helped to that extent. But yeah, that class took up, like, January was fine, but then once we hit February, it was full gas until the end of May, and then on top of that, there was taking the SAT, which I did twice. I took it in March and May, and then I took the ACT in June, which those are, if you don't live in America, these are standardized testing for college, which I need to start applying to in the next month. Sorry about that. But there was just no time at all for me to edit or do any of that. And the spare time I did have, I wanted to not do that. I wanted to do fun things instead of sitting at my computer and edit a house speed build from summer 2023. So yeah, there was all of that going on, and then my summer, I've been pretty busy this whole summer. I've had 1 or 2 days here and there every week or so, and again, it's just like I want to play Super Mario Galaxy on my Wii. I don't want to edit a video. Which, yeah. So all of that has culminated into me not releasing that until now. I don't know when now is. It is July 15th when I'm recording this. So it'll probably be a few days out when I post it, because iMovie will take forever to render all of these videos and then to upload, and then uploading it to YouTube's not a hassle, but it's exporting the video, that's the word. So yeah, I've yapped for 14 minutes about why it's taken so long, so let's talk about some other stuff. So the release schedule for these. I'm going to try to fit as much footage into each video to be about an hour length for the other houses, because there's 7 of them and this has 2 of them. So I'm posting them in the order that I built them, which is not going to be, it's not really in any shape or order. It's kind of mindless. I don't know why I'm like this. But yeah, I'm going to upload them like that. So instead of having the 9-part speed build that was the original plan, it'll be more like 3 or 4. I don't know. I haven't looked. iMovie's very bad about uploading footage into the actual program, so I'm having to do this one step at a time. Bear with me. So yeah, I will release these. My plan is to get them all ready and do them like one each day, so it's only like 3 or 4 days in a row. That way I don't fill up your For You page or your subscription feed, and like you get them sort of scattered out. And this leads into my next talking point, which is the future of this channel. We're going to go back to YouTube Studio for this, because I want to get my dates right. So, in the past, in 2024, I posted 5 videos. 3 of them were in March, 1 of them was in June, and 1 of them was in August. So when was this? March, so that is, in the past 16 months, I have posted 5 videos. Really, ever since, and if you look before that, the end of 2023, actually, part 1 of the farmhouse was posted in, that video's at 85,000 views, holy cow. Thanks for that. But yeah, part 1 was in September, and then part 2 wasn't released till December, so I already had a big gap there. My point is that I have been very few and far between, with only 5 videos for the entirety of 2024, and then 2023 really slowed down at the end. And after I went my entire junior year posting 1 video, which was the very beginning of August, so that doesn't really count. And now I'm going into my senior year in less than a month. So I'm almost done with high school. I have bigger things to worry about than this. So ultimately, I think I mentioned this in a community post, but none of you probably read that, which I wouldn't either. Ultimately, I'm quitting. I'm done. I pretty much already quit, but this is just me wrapping up, tying loose ends, so I can quit. But yeah, if you are a diehard fan, I'm sorry, but I've already been gone for like a year now, so it's not like something out of the blue. I've more than eased into this. And bottom line is, I was not planning on doing this outside of high school anyways. 14-year-old me, which has been, I think it was 3 days ago, on July 12th, I think, because my phone notified me, and it was like, happy 3 years of YouTube. I was like, holy jeez, it's been 3 years. So, yeah, 3 years ago, on 3 years and 3 days ago, when I made that first upload, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this until I graduate, and then, like, I'll make a farewell, and however, I had goals of, like, I might hit 1,000 or 2 subscribers, not anything big, by the end. This was with me posting for 4 years straight. I have far surpassed that, like the however many it is, 4,326 to be exact at this moment. That's insane. I never dreamed of having that many, so thank you all for that. That really means a lot. But yeah, it was, long story short, I had no plans of doing it in college anyways, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to move on to bigger, better things, but this will be a fun hobby to have. And really, like, my freshman year was, uploading on YouTube was great. That was the start of the build request and the Discord server. It was, summer 2023 was phenomenal for this channel. That was the most fun I've ever had making it. It was with both of the Suburban estates, which I did as build requests. It was in the early days of that. Alex and Ivel and Trimfim and that whole era. And that is when I did my first commentary videos, the only 2 that I actually made, which I had so much fun making those. I was like, this, now I can see why people quit speed builds to do these. They were so much more fun to record. Editing them was a lot more work. I spent several hours on each of those. But yeah, that was the peak, and then after that, it really cooled down going into my sophomore year. I was enjoying it less. I was getting more detailed, which took more time, which took more money, and it was just like my level of... And I would spend so much time on something, and I wouldn't be satisfied with the outcome of it. So I ended up scrapping like 3 or 4 projects at the end of that year, at the end of 2023, because I wasn't proud of them. Simple enough. But yeah, I had plans on doing that through high school. I made it a year and a half in, and pretty much just fell off. I did do the Craftsman family home, or the Craftsman mountain home, whatever, the Green Craftsman that I uploaded in March of 24. That was really the last... That was the last time I actually enjoyed doing this. With going to that summer, I had more things to do, and bottom line, I've outgrown this. My 14-year-old self would call me an idiot, but my 17-and-a-half-year-old self was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I've enjoyed it. It's been great, but it's long overdue for me to move on now. And I'm sad. I'm not happy continuing this, but I'm sad to see it go, because I've truly enjoyed doing this. And now might not be the time to say that this voiceover will probably be my last. Which is why I made the video an hour long. I intend to stay here for quite a while. But I'm a sentimental person. I don't know what else to say besides that. But whenever a creator would be like, it's the end of an era, it's moving on, like I'm sappy. I love that kind of stuff. Like not love, but I was always like, if I have a YouTube channel, I would want to do that just to commemorate the moment, to mark the end of the era. So I'm probably going to have, at the end of the 3 or 4 posts, I'm gonna make a farewell video. For all 6 people that are gonna watch it, one of them being me, because I will have spent a lot of time editing it, and I'm like, I'm done. But yeah, that's probably gonna happen. And again, it's just like, yeah, I've outgrown this. I'm not the same person I was in 2022. For the better. I've grown. The character development has been real. I've grown a lot as a person. I've grown a lot. Not very much physically. I was just saying earlier. You know what? We're not. That's TMI. We don't need to discuss that. But yeah, I'm ready to move on. So, I made bullets here of quitting. Why? What next? So yeah, I'm quitting because I don't want to do this anymore. If I was making a substantial amount of money for it, I might have considered this, but at the rate that I've fallen off, I'm not really making anything anymore, so it's not like there's a monetary gain from continuing to do this. I was making the most at the end of 2023 when I was getting like 20,000 views a month on that one video, which is at 85,000 views. That's insane. But yeah, there's that. So why? I've already mentioned that, but in case you didn't understand my very scattered thought process, because I'm very bad at explaining things. I don't want to do this anymore. I wasn't planning on doing it in college anyways. My schedule got more intense than I was imagining, and now I'm ready to just enjoy my senior year with no no regrets, but not the kind of no regrets like my junior year. Because I was like, I'm going to regret not doing anything. And then now I'm like, I'm going to regret doing something, so I'm not going to do anything. But yeah, I'm just ready to enjoy this last year. I've gotten a lot more hobbies recently. Been reading, not so much recently, but I've been reading a lot more books, which I was already a big reader anyways. But now it's like I can read without shame of I could be recording right now. Playing other games. I got big into The Sims in my absence. I've since kind of fallen off of it a little bit, but I do have several hundred hours sunk into that. And I really enjoy building in The Sims more now because I still get that creative outlet that I had with this, but I actually have a use for the houses, so I can make a house and then I can like have a sim live in it, which is something that can't say the same for Bloxburg. You could roleplay. I hate that. I'm not going to do that. If you want to do that, go for it, but not for me. So yeah, what next? Well, I've already been at that part. I am my own worst enemy. I give myself a guideline of talking points, and just to fill the time, and I lump them all together anyways. Good job me. So yeah, what else have I been doing? I watched K-pop Demon Hunters I've watched it twice now. Awesome movie. 10 out of 10. No, 9.5 out of 10. The half deduction is for the name, because that name is horrible. I saw a comment under an Instagram post that was like, they should have named it K-Hunters, and that name's not much better, but it's better. I would be less... I'm not ashamed anymore of saying I watch K-pop Demon Hunters, because no, that's not something I'm ashamed about. I'm ashamed about doing a YouTube channel, so I'm quitting. We're probably going to be getting in the borderline loopy state because we're past 11 p.m. But I'm a big boy now. I've grown since when I first started doing this. I would get loopy in the first 10 minutes and then talk nonsense and then post it and be like, why was I doing that? So, yeah. I've gotten into game collecting a little more recently. We moved on to house number 2. Hooray. But yeah, I've gotten into game collecting a little more recently. Not super big, not like whenever you see those game room tours and it's just bookshelves on bookshelves full of games, that's not me. I have probably like, I don't know how many I have. I need to count that. But it's like a single, like a 10 DVD case wide CD rack. Very narrow, probably like a 1 or 2 feet wide. And I got like 10 or 15 for each console. But I've been collecting for the Wii because it's my childhood system, favorite system. And there's a bunch of games on there that, excuse me, sorry about that. But there's a bunch of games on there that I've always wanted to own, and like this is the kind of stuff that I'm not ever going to sell it, so I would rather buy a Wii game now when it's $15 than wait 10 years when everybody gets nostalgic and then they're $70. I'm looking at you, Nintendo GameCube. That's why I only own one of those games, and I got it for Christmas. But yeah, I like looking at my Wii collection. I'm like, if like in the future, somebody comes by, oh my gosh, you have a Wii? And it's like I have Just Dance 4 times and then maybe a Mario game or 2. It's like, what is this? So I didn't even own, I was talking earlier about playing Super Mario Galaxy. That's been one of my purchases because I never owned that game. Same with Smash Bros. Brawl. But yeah, I've been doing that, and if I'm doing that, I have more time to play those games if I'm not doing this. It's kind of I've made my money from doing this, so I can spend that money on other games. Been getting a little bit on the DS because it's my other, like when I grew up I had a DS and a Wii. It was simple enough. So I'm getting more of those. Those are getting a bit more expensive on some of them, so I need to figure out what I'm doing with that. Because even if I'm the type of person that I'm like, okay, I want this, it costs X amount. I'm not gonna get it because I don't want to pay for it. Which works to a certain extent, but then it's like whenever I do end up buying something, I just snap and go on a spending spree. And then I'm like, okay, I need to stop. I'm like, you already bought a 3DS, you bought a SNES Classic that's coming on Saturday that I'm looking very forward to modding. Losing my track, but yeah, collecting for the DS. I'm starting a little 3DS collection going because I do have a 3DS now, because my DS is old and the card reader doesn't work very well because 3-year-old Jack did not treat it very well. So yeah, I ended up getting one of those, and I have Animal Crossing New Leaf now. I've enjoyed my 3 hours that I've played of it so far. I'm kind of waiting to collect a little bit more for the Switch because I got a Switch in 2018 or so, and I've pretty much been getting games for it as they've come out, the ones I want pretty much. But now that the Switch 2 is out and that generation's kind of coming to a close, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out not only what games do I want to own now, but what would I want to own in the future. Like, am I gonna regret not having this? Which it's not a big deal because again, I'm buying stuff for the Wii and 3DS and the DS, and those have been gone. But there are some key games in there, but I have most of the big stuff because I've been a conscious child or a functioning person when that's out. Because when the Wii and the 3DS, or the Wii, I keep saying 3DS. Like the Wii and the DS, that was, it was my sister's Wii, and it was just kind of whatever my mom bought for us. But now, which is why we own 4 Just Dance games. But now it's like, okay, I actually have control over what I'm getting, so I need to figure that out. And I did mention the SNES Classic, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the classic mini console, which is notoriously easy to mod. And I've been getting all of that set up, so it's coming in this weekend. So by the time this video posts, I will probably have it. And I'm gonna mod some NES games on there, some N64. So I just kind of have my my retro games, because I'd like to have those games on an actual console instead of just through Switch Online, which I don't want to pay for more. And eventually, we'll discontinue that, and those games will be off there. So I'd rather just own something that has all of them on there. Plus, the ports are compatible with Wii controllers, so I can use those on there. So yeah, I'm building myself a little game collection. That's what I'm going to be doing and spending my time with, that's always something I've wanted to do. I'm at the point to where I'm fulfilling my wishes from when I was 11, 12 years old, really more like 13, 14, we've already checked off the box of becoming a famous YouTuber. I have 4,000 devoted fans who are not going to watch this video because I waited 11 months to post it. And I've already checked that off the box, and I've always wanted to have a pretty cool game setup to where someone could walk in and be like, hey, can we play this? And I'm like, sure. Not to the extent of bookshelves upon bookshelves of games, but pretty much all the stuff that I want to own and would want to own, like I mentioned. I'm repeating myself now, which is a sign that I need to change the subject. Apart from that, there's not really much to talk about. I've been going for 34 minutes now. Part of me wants to just say, you know what, you're talking about stuff irrelevant to the build, but if I don't remember making this. I don't even remember how long ago it was when I was making this house. It had to be, by this point, it was probably December of 2023, early 2024. That's been almost 2 years ago. I don't remember this. I haven't even played Bloxburg in 2025 at all. I think I played it last in November or December of last year. Like it's not even if I'm still playing the game. So I'm kind of useless on that front. But I feel like from at least my experience of like the old Lookayocast videos of I would listen to the voiceovers for really the stuff aside from the build. It was just interesting listening to someone talk about random stuff. Like today I got to go and tear a table apart, like a really big 15-20 foot long old table. I got to kick it apart and it was really fun. I did enjoy myself. The 95 degree Georgia heat was not on my side, but did have fun with that. All of my friends, some of which who might be watching this, probably not by this point, have started marching band camp, and I am the infamous person who is in band, is always like pushing to be the best at my instrument, and I just refuse to do marching band because I don't want to. Freshman year, sophomore year, they were all like, "Why aren't you doing this? You need to do it." And then now they're going back and they're like, "Oh, why do we have to do this again? Why is our show theme spaghetti?" And I'm like, first off, spaghetti is awesome. And second, now y'all are finally seeing why I haven't done it for 3 years, 4 years now. Let's just take a moment to appreciate how, even though it's been so long since I've done this, I'm calm right now. Those first few voiceovers, I was petrified. It was like I was forcing myself to do something against my will. Which was not true. It was something that I wanted to do. And I've probably mentioned this in the second part of the Mediterranean home. I was so bad at naming these, I can't remember them anymore. But the gray Mediterranean home from 2023, like September or so, August, it was the end of that summer. The second part of that video, I talked a lot about the channel, the history of making it, like how I was the eras, so I've pretty much covered all of that in that voiceover, if you're interested in hearing about that. And now I don't remember what I was talking about to begin with. Oh, the voiceovers. Yeah, like I was originally, at the rate things were going with that third video I uploaded, the traditional suburban home, I think. Because that was my first major success. Like that one blew up. And it's probably still in my top 3 or 4 by now. Maybe not anymore, I don't know. But at the rate things were going, I was going to hit 1,000 subscribers in like a month or 2. And that was supposed to be planned with the release of the Luxury Modern Mansion, which was going to be like the 1,000 subscriber voice reveal. I was only at like 400 or 500. Things slowed down and my ego got crushed because I went in with no expectations, and then I got my hopes up real high just to get them crushed back down. So that was awesome. And then by the time that first video, which is the no Game Pass house, the second one I did, because that first one was horrible. But that is like 200,000. November 2022, I did that first voiceover because it was like, okay, I really want to do this, and I'm tired of waiting for a subscriber goal to do this, so I'm just going to do it. And I did, and here I am. So, yeah. Part of me is going to miss these voiceovers because getting to this point is horrible. I hate it. But once I get everything edited in, and then I'm just speaking like this, it's kind of like both mine and your therapy podcast. Like I'm just talking. It's great. I'm very interested to listen back to this compared to my first video to see how my voice has changed, because I listened to my old commentary videos a couple weeks ago on a whim. I was like, geez, I sound young. But now I think after being isolated at home and just not being around public or other people for a while, the southern accent is probably really shining through, on certain words at least. The public school system has tried its best to rid it of me, but I grew up in the South. I'm growing up in the South. It's inevitable. I will sound like a banjo one way or another. But it's not about how I sound, because what else matters? You're not watching this to watch me build a kitchen that I've copied for the second time. Or maybe if you are, but I don't know. I just want to, I don't know, what else can I talk about? My cat is, I love her and I hate her because she wakes me up at 5:20 in the morning at my door, but she's so stupid. Her brain has 3 brain cells, and 2 of them are on vacation. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. My cat's kind of dumb, but she's actually, for being very dumb, she's very smart, because every night at 8 p.m. she will go to the basement door and sit there until you open it, and she goes down and puts herself to bed because she sleeps in the basement. Garage door. Okay, so my sibling is home from her night out with some friends, so I'm going to wrap this up now because I don't like recording when there's other people awake. So I'm gonna wrap this up now. I will do a video at the end of like a final goodbye. But as for the final voiceover, thank you so much for watching. Thank you if you've watched to this point. Thank you if you've watched just any other video in the past. I can't express how much it truly means to me that there is someone out there who actually enjoys what I've made and wants to watch it. So yeah, I will just thank you again for giving me this opportunity, and I will see you in the farewell. Goodbye.